To be the one in control, you must force your enemy to react. Make him abandon his plans and come to you. Lure him close enough and land a devastating attack. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. That is the 8th law in Robert Greene's book, The 48 Laws of Power. The first story we are being told is about Napoleon. And at this point in time, he has been defeated for the first time and sent to exile on the island of Elba, just outside the coast of Italy. In 1814, a congress was held in Vienna to divide up the vast empire that Napoleon had controlled between the different statesmen of Europe. And even though they were all powerful men, they each feared that they hadn't seen the last of the now exiled emperor. Only one person in that congress was calm and collected. His name was Talleyrand, the former foreign minister of France and Napoleon. It was as if he knew something that the others didn't. And we're gonna come back to Talleyrand a little bit later on. In 1815, British ships surrounded the island of Elba, where Napoleon was sitting in exile. Despite this, the former emperor managed to escape in broad daylight. And this, of course, greatly scared the statesmen of Europe. Perhaps as surprising as his sudden escape, Napoleon chose to march on Paris with only a few hundred men at his disposal. Despite this and the army that the now King of France controlled, people threw themselves at Napoleon and welcomed him with open arms. The people of France absolutely loved him. And he was made emperor once again. And once more, he started to wage war against the other states of Europe. Peace was once again not a certainty on the continent. However, after only 90 days in power after regaining control of France, he lost a definitive defeat at the Battle of Waterloo. And this time, his enemies had learned their lesson, and he was sent not onto a small island in Europe, but to an island off the west coast of Africa, with no chance of escaping. Now, back to Talleyrand, the foreign minister of France. For the reason for his calmness during the Congress of Vienna was not because he stood on Napoleon's side and awaited his return. No, it was because he knew that Napoleon would come back and that would threaten the peace of Europe. And he had been ordering a lot for a much further exile of Napoleon, that they would be sent off to a barren island far away from Europe. But no one had listened to him. With this in mind, Talleyrand constructed a trap. He let Napoleon escape the island of Elba. He let him come back and become emperor once more. For he knew that Napoleon would once again wage war in Europe. And he also knew that France was in a difficult situation financially, and that it was only a matter of time before the state would break. So he let Napoleon come back, knowing that eventually he would suffer another defeat. And this time he had enough proof to show to the other statesmen of Europe that Napoleon was indeed this dangerous threat to peace. And so Napoleon was sent off into exile, this time much further away. The book outlines that being this aggressive leader, the conqueror, eventually will make you enough enemies to the point where you'll be forced to react to the others and what they do. A common misconception is that power is aggressive action, when in reality we saw what happened to Napoleon. The better play is to have effective action, to stay back, remain calm, hidden in the shadows, and play the long-term game. Well, the essence of power is the ability to keep the initiative, to make others forced to react to you, and to make them set up their defense, waiting for your next move. To get into this position of power, we need to master two things. Number one, to never let our emotions control us, and to specifically don't give in to anger, for that makes us easy to control. And secondly, we must play on other people's tendency, their natural tendency to react emotionally to things, and to react with anger when they are pushed and baited. And this just goes to show just why emotional men are seen as weaker in society than their stoic counterparts, simply because they are easy to control, and being in control symbolizes power. Talleyrand knew that Napoleon would come back, so he decided to orchestrate the whole move instead of just waiting and letting Napoleon escape on his own initiative and planning. Always make your enemies come to you. For if you can control the territory, if you're familiar with the area, it'll be a lot easier for you. You'll be able to focus fully on your opponent. For your enemy, he will be forced to constantly be on the defensive, for he doesn't know his surroundings. This territory is new to him. To illustrate this, we can talk about pickpockets. One of the keys of being a successful pickpocket is the ability to locate the wallet. A strategy to do this is for a pickpocket to stick around near signs that read "Beware of pickpockets." For when other regular innocent people see the sign, they will instantly feel for the pockets and see if the wallet is still there. And while they do, the pickpocket notices this and knows exactly where to strike. In the 19th century, Daniel Drew was a master at the stock market. And not that he had insider information or anything, but simply because he knew how to play the game of manipulation. For Daniel Drew used to rush through an exclusive club on Wall Street. And as he did so, he accidentally dropped a slip of paper, a little bit of information about which stocks he was planning on buying or selling. And the members of the club on Wall Street, they were so curious about Daniel Drew. So they would look at the piece of paper, look at the information, and they would do as they thought he would do. When in reality, Daniel Drew was waiting on the other side, and he gained when the others lost, and managed to manipulate not only that group of people, but the entirety of the stock market, and into making stocks go up or down in price as he wished. For a bear hunter, running after the bear is the most stupid thing he could do. Instead, he sets a trap of honey and waits for the bear to come to him. We have now been going over countless examples of letting other people chase you and to not chase other people. But there are still cases where striking quickly, aggressively, with speed is the move to make. For when he is forced to react to you, you are in full control. Which tactic to use depends entirely on the situation. For if you and your enemy are of equal strength and you have time on your side, it is wise to lure your enemy to you to deplete his energy and strength. However, if your enemy is weaker than you and time isn't on his side, if giving him time is only gonna make him recover and regain his strength, you should act quickly and strike with aggression, with speed, to destroy him completely. This law, the eighth law of power, is relatively harmless to implement in your life. Because remember, we're not doing this to be able to manipulate people. We do this so that we can defend against people of ill will. Being the one in control is always going to be preferable. For when it comes to meetings and gatherings, you do yourself a huge favor by knowing the surroundings well, because then you can focus more on yourself and on the other person, rather than having to worry about the area around you, the territory. Lastly, let's copy the approach of Talleyrand. For how odd it may seem, it is sometimes best to initiate unfavorable events ourselves to control them and to control the outcome, rather than just waiting for something bad to happen and not knowing what the outcome will be. And to control the outcome of your life, to regain control, subscribe and like this video, and we'll make sure to do just that. To be the ones who have complete control over our world, our realities, and our lives. And with that, I'm leaving you.